I looked at the word belonging. I belong to, for instance, a certain group. It's kind of a strange word because you can use it in an active way, the longing for, or just in a passive way where it's more like a statement. I belong to the group of humans, and there's no longing in there. It's just a fact. I'm a human, so I belong to the group of humans. It looks like if it's used in a passive way, there is no such thing as emotions and feelings around it. While when we use it in an active way, the emotions and feelings are just directly kicking in. And that comes from the word longing, because we long to belong to a group and we want to fit in, or we want to have or make an identity through belonging to a group. And this goes really far. We're prepared to almost give up on ourselves in order to belong to a group. You can see that when young people want to belong to a certain group with certain clothes, with certain rituals, also gangs, but also grown-ups who want to belong to the group of millionaires, who want to belong to a certain professional of a profession, like longing to belong to the group of doctors, lawyers, or maybe even a handcraftsman who wants to belong to whatever, a carpenter group, but isn't allowed in because his work isn't good enough. So then, what I said, the emotions and feelings are just weighing so much more than just the fact of I belong to the group of humans. I belong to the group of people who have blonde, curly hair. I belong to the group of people with green eyes. It starts to be a bit tricky when it comes to I belong to a group of people who have one green eye and one blue eye, because that group isn't that big. So then emotions and feelings are kicking in too. Or I belong to a minority group due to the nationality I'm from. So then belonging isn't just belonging, just simple. When we look at animals and trees and plants according to the word belonging, then we can see that there is no such a thing as belonging. Trees are just trees, or they are shrubs, then they're not trees. But that's only because we humans made that up. And that's the same with plants. Some plants are weeds, and some plants are plants or herbs, or they didn't ask to be weeds or whatever. No. And that's the same for animals. They just, or living in a group or not living in a group. But anyways, they belong to a group or a certain species. But it's also something that we invented it, because they just are. A tree is just being a tree. And it isn't preoccupied with the longing to be a tree. It would be funny if you would walk through a forest and a tree came up to you and said, well, I long so much for being a proper tree, because now I'm just on the outside of the forest and I don't feel like fitting in with the others. I'm much smaller and I have these strange kind of branches. No, that would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? If a tree would say things like that. And that's the same for animals. Let's say ants who are living in a group. There isn't one ant just waking up one day and saying, wow, I just really feel that I belong to this group. I just feel that I fit in. And now I can do my job within the group with far more security. I now validate myself because I see I belong to this group. No, he's just doing his job within the group without asking. So animals, plants and trees, they don't belong. They're just being. They're being what they are. They're just their own expression. And maybe that's where our problem is. We are not just being a human, a being. No, we're always longing for something else, to get this validation, this confirmation of, yeah, you are a human, so you belong. No, we don't need that. We know we are a human and we just have to act like a human and be one and see that we belong without any emotions and feelings to the group of humans, and that we can make a difference when we realize that we are a group and we can act like a group. Trees become a forest when they are in a group. Animals become a group and they hunt together, to give an example, and then they are effective. But we humans, no, we want to be individuals. We want to be special. And for this specialness, we want a validation and fit in a group. And I know how that works because I've been there several times in my life, always wanting to fit in, belong. But it's stupid. I am. I don't need something outside of myself. I am, and within this I can be effective. As long as I am wondering about how can I belong, how can I fit in, I'm just an ineffective human being, useless. We need to just skip that part, skip the emotions and feelings, because look at it, it makes it so much complicated and it ends up in being ineffective, really ineffective. And that's not the way we can make a difference. And in making a difference, I'm not saying being special and making a difference. No, just making a difference because you know that that's an effective way of being a human. That's what you need to do. That's your expression. To go that far till there is equality for all. Till we all can be effective. And we just need to look at at nature, because they are just not so complicated as we are. Just stop the complicated stuff. Stop the mind fucking. Just be effective. Be an effective human. And then all problems are solved in one day. When we put the word belonging in the light of our society, the system we're living in, then you can see that without longing for it, we just belong to the system. But then within that, we do long to belong in it. We long for money, because with money, we see already on a young age that we can gain, let's say, power or gain things within this system. We can move through the system according to the amount of money. So we want to belong to the group that has money. We want to belong to those professions that have the money. That's why parents do stimulate their kids to study something important, to belong to a group that has power, that has money, because then they know their kids is taken care of. And that's what they give their children, this urge of belonging to certain groups, without seeing that the child just needs to be a being. And that's what's been skipped here. Children nowadays they are not educated to become beings. They're educated to long for being, longing to belong to groups. They want to fit in with their peers. So they need to choose groups, either way, or longing for it or just choosing for it. Because when we don't choose for living within the system society, we're going to be spit out by society. When we don't long for money, and at a certain point we don't have money, we're also spit out by the system. Because the system don't want beings who don't long for money. They don't want beings who simply are. This being, the expression of a human being, that's not what's required to fit in. But that's what's required to be effective. To be effective and to make sure that everybody has equal rights, equal money. Because equal money will take out the longing from the word belonging. Within an equal money system, we simply be. We are. We don't have to fight. We just can be effective human beings.